Okay, today we are going to talk about posing and positioning the wings of a bird for flying mount, and also we're going to talk a little bit about how to use your reference photos for your mounts. So the first part of the first part of the video, which is about mounting and also blow drying. I'm gonna let you listen to the music while I'm doing it, and I will fast forward it so it won't take more than a few minutes. And then as soon as we are getting close to the time that we're going to pose and bend the wires and do all that fun stuff, I'll come back on and then we'll talk about what we're doing. In that part of the video, I'm going to slow down the speed of the video to much slower than what you're seeing right now, so at least you can follow what I'm saying. Okay, I'll be back. All right, we're getting close. This is fast blow drying soaking wet owl, and pretty soon we're gonna have it ready for adjusting the feathers and start posing it. Here we go. So I have it on the temporary perch right now, and as you can see, the bird is fully dry, but all the feathers are all ruffled, especially on the wing. When we're blow drying, a lot of the under feathers will come to the top, and a lot of the top feathers will be pushed down to the bottom. So as you can see, some of the primaries are not even where they're supposed to be. So what I like to do, one wing at a time, I like to use my pin, as you can see, and just go with the flow of the wing. Like, I mean, you can push the pin underneath the feather roots and start lifting them up. By lifting up the feathers, you will have better idea which feathers are gone underneath and which feathers are remaining in their right spot. It is very important because if you have all the feathers, especially on the wing, which is both sides of the bird body, on a standing mount, or in flying it's gonna even show more. And it's very important to have the feathers shingling on top of one another the way they're supposed to, because if you're not doing this part, as you know, half of the structure of the feather is, I can't say half, I mean some feathers, half of them, most feathers, at the bottom of the roots is full of down, and the rest of them is the structure of the feather. So if you are not putting them on top of one another the correct way, the down will stick out somewhere. So basically, wherever you're working, when you see the down, which in this case is going to be darker down feathers, and in some other birds it can be whiter or lighter color, you will see that they're sticking out. And if it does, it just shows that you haven't done your work properly. So might as well open each wing, stretch the wings out, and push the pin underneath each groups of feathers in lines. So as I mentioned before, again, this is not exactly the part of the work that you can see in the video, and when I even talk about it, you can pick up exactly what I'm saying. It's one of those things that hands-on learning would benefit you a lot more. But I mean, at least this is better than nothing. The same thing happens with underneath the bird too, underneath the wings. So you got to make sure that the feathers are lining up in the same tracks that they're growing out of the skin, and they are shingling on top of one another. As you can see, when I push them down at the end, they're gonna look a lot nicer. So hopefully you can see the bird right now, which is this bird is going to be in a flying position. Well, not really, it's going to be called wings open position. It's supposed to be taking off, and the branch that you can see I'm preparing to have the bird attached on is the one that the owner found and liked and brought it in so we can use, which is totally fine. We do appreciate that. So after attaching it to my mounting stand, I'm going to drill the holes for the legs or for the feet to go onto the branch, hoping that I'm going to have the right spread. Of course, I do have a couple of reference pictures here that I'm gonna show you before we go on. But right now I'm gonna just attach the bird to the branch, and then we'll decide about posing. We'll start the posing right after that. So the first two holes that I put on the branch, I thought that they're going to be the right spread, keeping the bird's feet in a natural position. And after a little bit viewing, I realized that, nah, I could do better. So don't be shy of retrying and redoing things till it's the right way. No one is supposed to, I mean, sometimes it happens, no, but we're not supposed to, or we don't have to make the holes the right way the first time. It's just, what matters is that you have to have them at the right place eventually. It doesn't matter how many times you try. So, okay, now I'm going to show you our reference photos here for a sec. We give it a pause here. Okay, now we're looking at this snowy owl that is taken off. If you notice, one foot is still attached to the snow, one foot is off. So I really like this position of the feet, but in this photo, you like the way we have our mount set up and the way we have our perch lined up, and the branch, and it's going to be a wall mount. the wing position right now, it's not beneficial to what we're trying to achieve. The head position is good. The tail, we notice that they'll lift the tail up when they want to take off, and the wings, they're perfect if we were going to have a tabletop mount, but our case is a wall mount, and this position might be interfering with the wall and might not allow us to apply the position properly. But I really like the feet position. And we have another photo, this one. You can see it's pretty much the same, but both feet are touching the snow. I don't like it as much as the first one. The tail is up, the head position and the breast position leaning forward, everything is the same, but the wing positions are also the way we want them. They're a little bit higher up, and it's going to clear the wall. So make sure to make sure that it's not going to hit the branch or hit the wall, so it's not going to interfere with our mount. So what we'll do in these locations, we will mix the two. We'll pick something from here and pick something from the other picture that I showed you, and then we'll apply it on the mount. That would be the easiest way, and the most creative way. So let's go back to our mount and see where we were. Alright, so we had the bird attached to the branch. So okay, here with the power stapler I'm trying to secure the feet. Because it's easier to have both feet and more secure to have both feet attached, both leg wires going through the branch. So the trick I used is that although I have both legs attached to the branch, but I have them positioned so it makes it look like one is off of the branch but still attached. And you will see by the time we get to that part, you will see in closer up picture that what it looks like. Actually, I pushed the wire through one of the toes, and just the tip of the toe is attached, and it pretty much makes it look like that the bird is taken off. Could I have one leg attached to the branch? Yes, I could, but the mount would be a little bit wobbly because there's only one attachment point for the whole mount. And it does work really well with perched birds that when they have one leg tucked up. But when you have a wings out flying bird, or the wing open bird, it's going to make it floppy because you're adding to the size of the mount by opening the wings. So anyway, we keep working on the feathers still. We're working a little bit on the head feathers and the breast. As you can see, all I'm doing is always pushing them up, make sure that all the feathers are shingling properly. And by reaching underneath the breast feathers, I really secure where my legs are supposed to be. I don't apply the pressures from the surface because you're just gonna make the preening work worse, and you're just adding to your own work. So we better just owls have a lot of feathers and a lot of fluff underneath their feather surface, so might as well you can push your hand underneath all of the breast feathers and do the positioning properly by grabbing onto the wire or the leg structure. So as you can see, every time that I move the wings, I'm going to mess up the shingles again, so I'll keep putting them back to the right place as much as I can with every movement. And when I'm usually posing a bird, I don't try to nail it with one or two bends. I keep looking at my reference photo, and I work around the bird a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there. Eventually it'll come together. Sometimes I'm working on the tail, I'll leave it alone and go back to the breast. Right now I was working with the wings, I leave them alone, come back to underneath, make sure that the wings are, I'm sorry, the breast feathers are lining up. So as I mentioned, you do a little bit everywhere till the shape comes together. And keep in mind that any bird that you're mounting, when you're posing it, make sure that you're pulling the skin up, because everything tends to fall with the gravity. When you carve your body to the perfect size of your bird body that you just skinned, and when you mount it, your bird skin is going to look like bigger than the body that you carved. Don't you change the body size. The reason that you're having a bigger skin than the body is because the skin is glued into all the areas of the bird, like including under wings, like armpits if you want to call it, or around the neck. There is a lot of creases that the skin is being folded on top of each other naturally and glued to the meat, glued to the body. So when you remove the body, all of those creases are going to open up. It's just like you can imagine a curtain. Usually curtains have a lot of creases at the top, and yet they're fitting a 10 feet window width. When you open a curtain, open all the creases, you will see that the fabric can cover like maybe 20 to 25 feet. So that's exactly what's happening in a bird mount. Don't you ever think that your bird skin is bigger than the body just because you carved the body size according to the accurate measurements of the body that you pulled out of the bird. Stick with that and figure out where the extra skin needs to go. That's the right way. So as you can see, like, I am trying to tuck in the area between the shoulder and the neck. There is a ton of skin in there that you need to tuck it into the proper area. It's just pretty hard to show right now, but it is basically between the shoulder bone and the neck right now. I'm trying to pin down the skin right in those areas, just to give me the proper slack, not extra slack on the skin. Sorry, you're gonna have to look at my bag here because the camera is on tripod. And I'm trying to talk over these videos. I've done this mount like a couple months ago. It's not fresh in my mind, so as I'm watching it along with you, I'm trying to put some voice over all of these areas that might help you guys more. As you can see, all of a sudden I drop the wing position and I start putting the shingles together because I noticed that I ruffled them up again. It happens 100 times during the mount, and I just have to keep doing it because the better it looks when I'm positioning the wings, the easier it'll register in my mind that what the wing should look like. Yeah, I love my needle. I just keep probing through the roots of the feathers, pulling them up, and keep preening them. Preening doesn't happen right at the end, it just happens during the work. And anywhere that I notice has been ruffled up because of handling, I just go right to that point, to that area, and try to bring it, at least not for complete preening and shingling. I'll bring it back to an acceptable situation for the time being, so it doesn't throw me off when I'm looking at it. See that corner of the wing, it just keeps bothering me because I'm handling it right from there, and I push the top wings to the bottom and the bottom ones go underneath the wing. So I just keep playing with it till it's acceptable enough for the last preening time, which is after carding the bird. And it is very important when you're drawing your bird, make sure that you are drawing the feathers 100%, not 95%, 100%. So all the feathers, every single feathers, they're fully dried from the tip to tip. So even underneath the roots and everything, all the down should be 100% dry. So for, okay, now you can see that I have turned the mount kind of upside down. It gives me a better access for the breast feather work, and also if I want to keep the wings open, I always try to use gravity for the work instead of working against it. Right now I'm using the gravity, as you can see, is pulling the wings down, so it's not always just falling on top of the bird. So you keep working with it till you find your best spot. See, like the reason I brought the mount upside up again, right side up again, is because my mind can't register what I'm doing exactly. If the thing is, especially what around the head and around the neck feathers and with the eyes, I cannot register if my symmetry is there or not if I'm looking at it upside down. So that's why it's very helpful if you have a mounting stand like mine, that you have the ability to turn your mount while you're working on it. Sorry, the camera auto zoomed on, auto focused on the wolf right now. So it seems like we're a little bit out of focus here, but you can see what we're doing here. So what I'm trying to do here by turning the mount upside down is trying to have the wing um, pulled open by the gravity. So when I'm carding it, it's not always a constant fight. And what I'm using here for carding is the combination of the painter's tape, the green tape, and a strip of cardboard. There is lots of different ways for doing this, and you just have to find the way that you prefer. My preference way is doing what is easiest for the project that I'm working on. Right now, I thought, if I can keep the wings spread properly and adjust them with the tape and cardboard, and then because the tape, these green tapes, they're not very sticky, they're just enough sticky to keep the feathers for now. I have realized that if I just rely on them, when the bird is on the wall drying in a week or two, it might just come off and the bird is not dry yet, and it might just come off, and then the symmetry is gone or the feather adjustments is gone. So I keep them in the same place as I want right now, and then with another strip of cardboard on the other side of the wing and using some pins, I give myself some assurance that it's not going to pull off or pull away. So right now I'm just applying on one side, making sure that every single feather on the wing is spread with the same distance. And this is again something that you have to realize after multiple works and a lot of studying, and of course depends on the position of the bird, the type of flight or the type of open wings that you're going to deal with, how much each feathers are going to spread from one another. I'm uh, I'm pretty sure that the video is coming to an end very soon. So let me see what else am I doing in here. Okay, here is the second strip. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I cannot remember if this is exactly what I did here or not. The second strip of, there you go, of cardboard is going underneath the wing, and I'm using some pins to push through every 2-3 inches or every 3-4 inches depending on the bird. Make sure that the tape don't give up on me. And once I have both wings, sorry again, half of the bird is not in the frame. Yeah, so anyway, and once I have both wings spread properly the way I want them, at least in terms of having all the primaries and all the secondaries, or basically flight feathers, spread and taped in the proper position or proper distance from one another, then I will put the wings where I want them to be. They kind of are right now, but not 100%. So right now I'm just paying attention to the spread of the feathers. I have seen so many flying mounts that seems like people are not caring how the feathers are spread. As long as they're spread, somehow they're happy, which is not accurate. That's what it is. It's I don't like to call it wrong. I just like to call it inaccurate. So with more tape and more cardboards, I wish I would have had the camera a little bit zoomed out a little bit so you could see what I'm doing. I'm sorry that I didn't pay attention to this. Sometimes, believe me, sometimes I don't even know. I forget that I'm videoing what I'm doing here. Sometimes clients come and I just leave the work and the video keeps recording for itself for 10-20 minutes without me even noticing it. So yeah, this is the second strip of cardboard that is going underneath the wing, and I'm trying to pin both cardboards, the one over the wings and the one under the wings, so they just don't go anywhere. So even if the tape pulls off or gives up, at least my work is not going to change because it's being held together by the pins. Some people push 2 wires underneath the wing through the body and use them as support. I have used that. It's a great way to shape up your wings. And I use that in some mounts. I use this in some mounts. I use combination in it all depends. I use the strings to pull them to different direction if I want to. it's always best to know all the methods and techniques and mix and match them according to your project, because um, usually we are not working on the same project over and over. Usually every project are unique to its own. So you can see my wings right now are spread properly, at least the way I want them, in terms of having all the feathers spread from one another properly and equally. Now I'm doing the same thing with tail feathers, with cardboard and green tape. So I'm sure that as far as I can see right now ahead of the video, I don't have the very final video parts of the positioning filmed, unfortunately, because this is still one of my older videos that I thought I'd better use it here and slow down this area so we can talk about it. But pretty much from here on, you've seen how I put together the wings, wing cards, and use 2 strips of cardboards and pins to make sure that they're not going anywhere. And I believe, I cannot think because I did this owl with a few more owls, I believe I did use some wires pushed through the body from underneath the wing to keep the wings up the way I want them. But yeah, I can see the video is coming to an end. Hopefully you guys like this one, and also you could take some tip here and there. If it helps you even a little bit, that makes me happy. So I'm gonna show you the end result in a few seconds. Okay, here we go. This is the finished mount, dried and ready to go home. So this is the view that you get from along the wall, and here's a little bit of a different angle, but the bird is taken off, and the wing position is allowing us to clear the wall and the branch. And one thing I wanted to point out to you is the feet. If you look here, the feet on the left and the right, both feet, the wire has gone through the toes, not from the middle of the foot, not right from the center. So that gives you the sturdiness of the mount. The mount is secured on 2 wires, 2 legs, so it's not wobbly, and also gives you the impression that the feet are off the perch, just because we kept them flat open. We didn't round them around the branch. We kept them open, and is basically just about taken off. So there you go, and here is another picture of the closer up. So actually you gotta also notice here that I kept the eyes wide open, which is totally against most of my owl mounts, that the eyes are usually half closed, because the bird, any bird who's gonna take off is not gonna be feeling relaxed, is basically intense. They want to take off either after prey or just going. The eyes gotta be lining up with the attitude of the bird. Another thing that you need to keep in mind. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll talk to you next week.